Welcome! This is Shakti Carola Nevran, and I'm an online astrologer, so I do most of my work online, doing all these forecasts for you to get ready and prepared. So today I want to talk about the upcoming solar eclipse. And solar eclipse is by definition when the moon and the sun are kind of in the same place, and the moon is in front of the sun. So it's not a total solar eclipse, so there will be a little edge of the sun be seen from most places, but it's still a very, very powerful new moon. So this one will be in Virgo, so we have to discuss all the implications of that. So wherever what we discuss today will happen in your chart, this is where you will have an impact for, let's say, the next 3-4 months at least. So as you know, the new moon is a beginning of a new cycle. Once a month the moon goes through the whole zodiac, and the solar eclipse is an extra powerful new beginning. So something old comes to an end, something new is beginning, and it's defined by the sign that is in. And the personal impact for you is wherever that is happening in your chart. So if you don't know your chart and you want to learn a little bit more about astrology, it's a good thing to go to my website, mauiastrologyreading.com, and when you sign up for my newsletter you get access, so you can input your birth information and you will get your birth chart, and then you will know where your moon is, where your ascendant is, all the other planets, and then whatever I discuss in my forecast, you will know where that is happening in your chart, your blueprint of life, and what's activated. So my intention with doing this forecast is to kind of get you prepared. And because I'm so passionate about astrology, I also want you to learn more about astrology and to get the bug. So you are more confident and self-aware and self-conscious in why you choose certain things in your life and how you can make your projects more successful. So if you sign up for my newsletter, I get you also what I call the Venus birthstone profile. So you get information about the Venus position in your chart and which is the most healing and balancing stone for that. And I can keep you in the loop for upcoming forecasts. So yeah, if you don't know your chart and you want to be kept in the loop, go to my website. Okay, so we will talk about the solar eclipse, big bang in the heavens. So just for you to know, every 19 years the solar eclipse tend to happen in the same sign, almost in the same degree. So this solar eclipse is happening at 2:03 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, September 1st. So here in Hawaii we're going to have it August 31st, so you have to calibrate it back to where you live in the world. And it's happening at 9 degrees Virgo, while 19 years ago, 1900, what was it, 97? Yeah, 97, there was another solar eclipse at 9 degrees and 39 minutes in Virgo. So if you have a long memory and you can go back and remember, I can't, and you can go remember what happened there for you, you will get kind of advance notice what potentially will happen, not in the same form, but the same subject matter will be up. And of course it's 19 years ago, so you're a different person now, you're more mature, you're more self-conscious, so whatever you create out there in the world is a reflection of your inner world. So of course whatever happened 19 years ago will not repeat itself. So just keep that in mind. It just gives you one additional perspective to look at things. Okay, so with a solar eclipse, something powerfully wants to come to an end and birth something new. And the way to think about that is that when the moon is moving in front of the sun, it's kind of interrupting that flow. And the sun energy, sun has consciousness, sun energy is interrupted. So you might know about the sunspots, that those fluctuations are actually very impactful for our personal energy field and frequency here on Earth. So there's more violence when the sun is more active, and it has impacts on many levels. So with this interruption, the solar eclipse of that flow, that energy, that frequency, life force flow from the sun, there is something like a reboot happening. It's like your computer isn't working quite right. So often when we shut it down and reboot it, it rightens itself. So this is kind of what's happening with the solar eclipse. Something starts anew, reboots. And with that, you have a chance to go about a certain issue or subject in a new, more conscious way. So that is what the big deal is about solar eclipses. And also our ancestors, they had a connection. I mean, they followed the moon around the months anyway, and they would harvest according to the moon cycle and plant according to the moon cycle. So there was a lot of empiric wisdom in that. So when we have a total solar eclipse, there is that darkening of the sun, and we and our ancestors are very aware that that is kind of spooky. And the sun as a life force and consciousness is blended out there for a moment. So some might have felt in ancient times the earth is coming to an end. So of course we don't believe that nowadays, but still there's a lot of attraction and fascinating around solar eclipses. And only if you really have an astrological perspective does it really make sense what the content is, how you can use the information to really adapt and step into that new level in your life, wherever that is in your chart, and make the most out of it. So we get more information about what wants to happen and what is the potential of that seeding moment, that quality in time when that solar eclipse is happening. So it is happening in Virgo. Virgo is a sign of Earth, the second sign in the evolution of the zodiac, and it's ruled by Mercury. So we do have other planets in Virgo. So there will be sun, moon by definition with the solar eclipse, but there will also Jupiter and Mercury in its own sign, all in Virgo. So 4 planets in Virgo plus the solar eclipse. So that's a big emphasis on Virgo matters. Let's have a look what that means. What's the potential? So when I do astrology, and I'm what we call an evolutionary astrologer, I always look at the chart or the present moment from the evolutionary perspective. So from the perspective of what's the low end of possibilities and what's the high end of possibilities. And the only deciding factor how we manifest potential, if it's in our birth chart or in the present moment, the only deciding factor is your consciousness. So consciousness is the key. And that's actually the reason why I'm doing the forecast. And I'm after 38 years of being an astrologer, I'm very passionate and enamored with astrology because it makes a big difference. Consciousness is a deciding factor. How you will be able to bring in potential into your life. Will it be low end where there is more suffering and pain going on, or will it be more high end? Okay, so Mercury in its own sign. Also Mercury will be turning retrograde. So that's happening August 30th at 29 degrees. So it was almost at the end of Virgo. And so Mercury entered Virgo July 30th and will be in Virgo till October 7th. So that's a long time for Mercury being in its own sign and even being retrograde, what means it's revisiting degrees and areas in Virgo and in your life, and wants you to really deepen in a certain way. So we look at Mercury retrograde as a second chance, and because Mercury is symbolizing our thoughts, our intellect, it's a chance to understand yourself and things in your life more deeply. And this is where the alchemy, the magic is happening. So if we have a deepened consciousness, a deeper understanding, we make better choices in life. So also a few hours after this eclipse, Mercury will be in conjunction with Lord Jupiter, who was looked at the king of the Roman gods. Jupiter is a principle of expansion, growing into a more meaningful, higher wisdom perspective, growing, being lucky, attracting abundance with that expansive momentum we are in. So Jupiter in the mainstream astrology is looked at as a good luck planet. So here's a good luck planet, the one where we need to expand consciously into a wiser, more mature, more meaningful perspective, is teaming up with Mercury, where all the understanding and interaction and choices are actually being made. So this conjunction happening so close to the solar eclipse gives a lot of information what this solar eclipse is handing us, what it gives us to work with. So it's really about overcoming our judgments, our narrow-mindedness, our ability to grow into more meaningful, higher wisdom perspective. And part of that is also the possibility to tap into what we would call our destiny, our life's purpose. So that Mercury-Jupiter goes a long way for each of us to connect with that. So make sure you look up where that solar eclipse is happening in your chart, and also how it connects with planets in your chart. So the aspects are kind of those angular connections we have between the planets and whatever they symbolize, what inner aspects they symbolize. So let's talk a little more about Virgo. Virgo, Earth, ruled by Mercury in its own sign. So Virgo is actually the archetype of the servant. Virgo is one who wants to contribute, who wants to make a difference in a very grounded way. So Virgo is a sign who is the best equipped to pay attention to details. So Virgo is interested in healing and nutrition and body work and coaching and mentoring and in getting really good at something. So Virgo is very skillful, because the shadow aspect of Virgo is that Virgos are usually in the low end side of things. They can become very self-critical, and if we are very self-critical with our own self, we usually are very critical with people out there. So these are the people who look at the glass half empty. So this solar eclipse will bring in that awareness of where we need to be kinder with ourselves and where we want to grow and expand. And in Virgo, the playing field where that is happening is connecting with what the highest potential would be. And then on the low end side, Virgo is seeing kind of, I'm here and this is a high potential. So if it turns into the low end side of manifestation, then Virgo personality can turn that against themselves. So they just look at the gap, they just look at they're not up there at that potentially best place to be, and they turn that against themselves. So high-end Virgo works with the gap, relaxes into the gap, and uses the gap to grow and get better at something and learn and deepen their skill set. So high-end Virgo, and that's kind of what's asked of all of us right now, is to reach into those higher visions we all have about who we are in our life, in our profession, our relationships and friendships. So to reach into that vision and realize where we are, because this is where we have to start. And then we take action step. We make a choice and we take action and we grow and we learn and we get better. And Virgo is very happy when Virgo can contribute to others, to help and support. So that's the high-end quality of the servant. Low-end quality is that sometimes Virgo lets themselves be abused and taken advantage of. That's where we find the doormat syndrome. So also that might get exposed, that maybe you hang out with friends who take you for granted and kind of use you in a way which doesn't feel right anymore. So all that clarity, all that awareness comes with that strong Mercury, Jupiter in Virgo. So at the end of the eclipse, which will be very strongly for a week, but then it's kind of 2, 3, 4 months, we definitely will still feel it. So the solar eclipse really impacts us strongly. And if you have any planets in Virgo, then this is especially strong. Or if you have any aspect connection, any specific angles to Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or other planets in your chart. So you really want to make sure to check where it is happening in your chart. Okay, so I don't see any questions, which is always available for you. So whenever you join one of my live forecasts, it's wonderful because you can ask live questions, but you can also still ask them in the comments, because I will tend to the comments and answer all questions you have. If you like my little preview and forecast, please like it. Make sure you subscribe, sign up for your newsletter so I can keep you in the loop. And please share with your people. If you think this is valuable material, I would be very grateful if you share it with your friends. Okay, my dears, so I hope this was helpful. Get back to me with your questions. You might want to put out your sun, where that is, so we kind of know who we are. It's always fun to revisit this page and see the astrology tribe forming all around the globe. Very international, and I love it. So on Sunday I will have the weekly forecast, Sunday at noon Hawaiian Standard Time on Astrology Forecast and more. So there's where you can get a hold of me next, or you can always write me an email or connect with me on the phone. Okay, my dears, thank you for joining. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm sending you aloha and many blessings from Maui.